Hello, WEOLA. I've got two completely different, unrelated questions. And the first one is, I think I've heard you say that energy doesn't get trapped in the body, whereas there's quite a few like complementary energy healing type things, which they work on the fact that energy does get stuck in the body somehow if there's been a trauma or something like that. And I'm curious to know, and a lot of these modalities work really well for me, and I'm curious to know your take on that, because it seems to make sense, but I understand you've said that's not what's going on.
Everything that exists, every particle of the universe, you and everything that you observe around you is constantly in a place of oscillation and the place of movement. And so in that way, the movement through your attention increases the movement of your oscillation in a certain direction. You can call that frequency, you can call that vibration, you can name it whichever way you want, but everything is in a constant movement. What feels sometimes to you in that place of stuckness or that place of capture is the attention of you organizing and having the attention on particular energy or particular focus through your focus about capturing the energy in a certain place on your body, in a certain place in the movement, in a certain topics, in a certain physical locations. Kosta has been experiencing a lot of those, what a lot would call thought forms, or thoughts that he used to have, and they're not as dominant because certain thoughts or certain energies, you can put a parallel between a thought and energy, you can put a parallel between energy and vibration, between energy and oscillation, between energy and movement, between everything that exists in energy. So a lot of those are synonyms based off of what you're talking about or depending on what you're talking about. So as you're in your movement and then this place of movement of your thought or your attention, certain environments or certain physical objects, such as your body as well in physicality, you then associate through attention your thought and or in that way the energy in a certain way. Kosta has been just experiencing it today and few days prior, how he's increased sensitivity towards the acceptance of levels of sweets and sugar as he is in his home country. He does not have some of those cravings when he's in the United States. He has never had them, or if he does, he has them in a certain way of consuming. But there is certain matching with certain habits, and especially in a place that he grew up, that him and Armand are visiting right now, in the household where he grew up, where his parents are as well spending time all together with them. And there are certain thoughts and habits coming through that. There is a jar of chocolates at one point. There is at this particular spot always something sweet. There is a dessert that it's inevitable after every meal throughout the day. That's how he grew up. That's how he was looking in these things. So he easily within the days just joined in some of those thoughts. In the beginning, he realized it's been something that he really loved to indulge because there was not much trouble spending about a week or 2 weeks maximum within this environment. But then he realized already after a couple of weeks that now there is going to be 3 more weeks and there is about 7-8 more pounds on his body, not only because of the sweets, but because of indulgence, because of certain habits of eating, but different habits of spending, what you would call, or moving the energy in certain ways. So when you talk about some of those energies being captured, stuck, you can think of that being captured by your attention and captured by certain thoughts following certain attention. But that does not mean that energy is stuck out of your control, that energy does not move to your liking based off of some other form of pressure on that. It's always based off of your attention. Your attention, your focus being the flashlight of where you're moving, where are you observing the movement of the energy, and then how quickly your attention is moving from one to another satisfying place, where then you can observe more ease about your attention and therefore more ease about movement of the energy, and therefore to witness moment by moment more and more of that energy moving. You are that eternal, divine, everything that exists energy, that it's in a constant movement through infinite energies. And then as your infinite scale of energy is always shifting, because with every question that you have, there is a different movement and there is a different infinity being captured, it's safe to say that with every question that you then are on a lookout to see an answer, there is different scale, fully scale being moved in terms of energy that you know the way you know it. And therefore you're moving based off of that through a variety of places. The moments when you feel like the energy is captured or sometimes not moving or sometimes stuck is because of the attention being on that similar pathway that gives you that feeling of not so much movement. So we are always then suggesting, there is always suggestion for you to see that from everything that exists part of you, and to see in that place of seeing the answer more and more of that infinite field, infinite grid of energy, if you want to, and see at the moment where you're moving. And once you understand that your attention is often in those moments of feeling stuck or not so much movement or capturing, that is usually when you stay in a similar place of not so much movement, then you understand that your attention can take you here and here and here and here. And this is what we talk about oftentimes when it comes to movement and creation process. It is not about you moving from one place where you're giving attention of a question and then move to the place of answer and then stay there forevermore, because that is not what it is. It is about constant movement. It is about you seeing the grid of infinite energy with more awareness and ease in that place when you have ease and bliss and satisfaction and love and appreciation, and then seeing where you're moving next to ask the question, so you go again and see the answer. So every time you're asking the question, it may feel to you, it is safe to say that at all times when you're asking the question, you may feel like the energy is not moving so much, because at the moment you're focused on asking the question, and therefore once you release the question, then the movement starts. And it's also safe to say that within the answer you feel so much ease and maybe not so much movement, but movement is always between question and answer, tipping point between one another that we often talk about, and then from another to one again, in other words, from question to answer and from answer to question. And that movement is what you can see at one point of going into that place of everything that is this broader perspective often referred to, and then see that movement. And then you never really feel like you're stuck. You feel like you're cruising through eternity, through the comfortable waves, comfortable, easy, beautiful, safe, satisfying waves of eternity, while you are perceiving it through your immense physical senses, where you do get to experience that eternity, that perpetual movement from the first class seats, or like we often like to say, in real time.